Today we witness the inauguration of the highest form of political leadership in our country. Leaders such as the President of the United States are chosen out of their ability to manage, inspire, and unify others while looking out for the common good of the people. Inspiring examples of leadership come to us in other unexpected ways as well. We will listen to the stories of our Capuchin saints this semester, men who were models of holiness, service, and sharing the love of God. Elected not by the people, but through God's call to them in their lives. Their quiet prayer and commitment to being lesser brothers to all is what makes them stand out. Many of them had weaknesses which prevented them from excelling in ways that others do. Yet they courageously moved through life, burdened by crosses, but shining with the joy and love of God. This is what I think of when I think of Blessed Solanus Casey. Bernard Casey was born on November 25th, 1870, the sixth of 16 children living in a log cabin on a farm overlooking the Mississippi River in western Wisconsin. His Irish immigrant parents, Bernard and Ellen, raised the family with daily prayers and a spirituality that saw the graces of God working through all things and circumstances. He endured many setbacks in his early years, contracting diphtheria at age 8, which damaged his voice, and receiving a limited education, having had to leave school to help the family's struggling farm. At 17, he left the home to try and financially support the family in other ways, including being a lumberjack, a hospital orderly, a prison guard, and a streetcar operator in Madison, or Superior, Wisconsin. One day on a streetcar route, he witnessed a drunken sailor stab a woman to death. This became a moment of God calling him to that saintly leadership. Michael Crosby, in his biography on Solanus, thank God ahead of time, writes, how what he witnessed that day caused him to reflect on his life and how it fit into a world with so much violence and anger. Though he prayed for the woman and her assailant, he realized he had to do much more to address the violence that seems so prevalent in the world. This is when he began to feel the call to priesthood. He originally hoped to become a diocesan priest in the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, but was not admitted due to his academic limitations. Reflecting before a statue of Mary, he heard her tell him to go to Detroit. It was there that he was admitted into Capuchin formation. He took the name of Solanus after St. Francis Solanus, made vows on July 21st, 1898, and was ordained a simplex priest due to poor academic performance. This limited him to presiding at Mass, but not able to publicly preach and hear confessions. His life of ministry as a Capuchin took him back and forth from New York to Detroit to Indiana. He mostly served as a simple porter where thousands of people were drawn to him because of his willingness to listen and share the love of God with them. He was available to people any time of day or night, only asking for prayers and support of the SMA missions. Many cures and other miracles were attributed to his prayers. So what makes Solanus' life so important? He was moved to act and lead others to God in a fallen world. By a simple confidence in God, which Solanus' family had instilled in him at an early age, he was enabled to keep moving forward through his limitations and setbacks. Turned down by one seminary, rejected the full faculties of priesthood, he persevered, knowing God would lead him to where he could be of the most service to his people. This turned out to be in a very humble position as the doorkeeper. He held strongly to his belief in the goodness of God and how he could let others who were hurting know of it. The murder he witnessed did not embitter him and make him cynical about the world. Rather, it moved him to be a part of the solution, bringing the love of God to as many people as possible. In our world today, we are witnessing and even participating in, at times, a divisiveness driven by fear and pride and unwillingness to enter into dialogue and seek to understand each other's differences. This can and has led us into both verbal and physical violence. We can look at it all and become embittered and unwilling to engage with those who differ from us. Or, like Solanus shows us, we can have confidence in God's ability to give us the graces we need to be those instruments of God's peace and love in the world. Solanus was not afraid that his weaknesses and limitations would make him inadequate for this work. His focus was, through prayer, to make room for God's plan to work through him and into the lives of those whom he met. We too can strive to have this confidence in God, being faithful to the task or person he will put into our lives every day. Solanus' simplicity allowed him to be fully present to whomever he encountered next. As we strive to live simpler in our own lives, we too will experience the fruits of being more fully present and alive to God's will. By this, we will become the saintly leaders God is calling us to be in a world so desperately in need of them today.